I'm Mandy Reid. To sum up what I do, I would be a catalyst. A catalyst for change, a catalyst for health, a catalyst for career change, whatever it is you want. I am a catalyst. I'm not a healer, I'm not a fixer, I'm not a mender. I just help people to get where they want to get in their journey.
Day later, I was back in the car driving, and I really couldn't drive, and I've said to you, I couldn't thank you enough for that.
And we had tear gas come into my bedroom window. I was a little child lying in bed, and there was a tear gas canister in the room.
Hi, I'm Lisa Barrett, and welcome to The Greater Truth of a Woman. And today I have Mandy Reid with me. Welcome, Mandy. Mandy, I have spoke about Mandy before on the podcast, so I'm very, very excited to have her here.
Thank you.
I have worked with Mandy doing things like Psych K. Mandy has helped me through my journey for anxiety. But I'm going to let Mandy introduce herself and tell us a wee bit about herself.
Where to start?
Rein it in, Mandy, rein it in.
Right. I'm Mandy Reid, and delighted to be here. Been waiting for ages to come on. Lots of different things have happened that have stopped me from coming on, and eventually I'm here.
Good.
I would say, to sum up what I do, I would be a catalyst. So a catalyst for change, a catalyst for health, a catalyst for career change, whatever it is you want.
Yeah.
I am a catalyst. I'm not a healer, I'm not a fixer, I'm not a mender. I just help people to get where they want to get in their journey.
Help people on their journey. Mm-hmm. I was recommended you probably about 1.5 years before I even went to yourself. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Nope.
By our mutual friend, Nikki.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, I had a bit of resistance going. I was like, that's not for me. That's not for me. Mm-hmm. And then I came to a point, I was like, that's for me. Mm-hmm. I need to go. And yeah, I went to you with anxiety. Mm-hmm. And at the point when I went to you, I couldn't even drive. I couldn't drive at all. And I'm not the person I am sitting here now, and you know that. Mm-hmm. So I have spoke about Psych K, or tried to speak about Psych K. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us the difference between Psych K and hypnosis? Because I know you do both.
Okay. Right. Psych K is different from a lot of therapies in that it works with the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious mind. Yeah. And this is where it gets different, right? Generally, if I was working with hypnosis, one of the things is before I put you under, and notice I say put you under, so I'm doing it to you. Yes. Right? I would decide what we're going to work on, and I would decide how we're going to do that. I would decide the journey that we're going to go on together. So it's me making all the decisions of how I'm going to treat you. Yeah. Right? Whereas Psych K, in Psych K, number one, you're not my client, you're my partner. Okay. And we go on a journey together. And it's a journey where you make all the decisions. Yeah. I ask you questions, and we use muscle testing. Yeah. And when we're using muscle testing, we're linking into the subconscious and the superconscious mind. And if people are wondering what the superconscious mind is, your superconscious is your higher self. Some people would say your God mind, but it's that higher part of you. Yeah. It's that part of you that has all of the wisdom, that part of you that knows why you're here, that knows your purpose, that knows what you want to evolve into. Yes. And we check in with that part. We get permission for everything that we do from the superconscious and the subconscious. And we use a lot of muscle testing. It's all around beliefs. There's core belief balances. There's multiple things, but it's a completely different process in that it's all about empowerment, and it's all about the partner realizing that they're doing it. They're doing all the work. That I'm just a guide. I'm just walking along the road with you. I'm not leading you. Yeah. I'm just beside you and accompanying you on your journey. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was, I came away, I think I was with you the first time for about 4 hours.
Yeah, it was a big session.
It was a big session we did. And I had, a day later, I was back in the car driving, and I really couldn't drive. And I've said to you, I couldn't thank you enough for that. But I had no idea at the time when I was going what it was actually going for. So I was, and the muscle testing and stuff, I was like, I don't know if this is this is for me. And you probably get that a lot, because it's definitely, it is your choice doing the muscle testing as well, but it is it's definitely a very empowering thing, and even reading up on it, I found it very, very empowering as well.
I think the thing is, people don't realise with the muscle testing, see if you're testing, so say we're testing a belief, and the belief was, I am enough, right? And you're weak, your arm goes down, you actually feel your arm going down. See, after we do the process, the Psych-K process, when people click into it and realise there's something happening here, is after the process, when they say, I am enough, and their arm is rock solid. And I mean, after a balance, the difference is insane. There's no, oh, was that strong or weak? Do you know what I mean? It's definitely rock solid. And the muscle testing, part of the reason it's there is so that you see the change, so that you actually physically feel that something happened by the muscle testing.
And then obviously the action plan for after.
Because there always has to be. Because when you do an action plan, what you're doing is you're literally testing the new beliefs, because we're structured and we're saying, right, what is it you want? And one of the ways we would do it is we would say, I would say to you, right, see the person you want to be. What would that person believe about herself? What kind of beliefs would that person have? And then you'll say, oh, she might think this and she might think that. And then we test to see if you have those. And if you don't have them, we put them there. We literally install them.
Basically, like when I looked at my limiting beliefs, I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't feel that I was loved. I didn't feel confident, and which is things that we did work on as well. It's would the Psych-K be your favourite treatment, Mandy?
Oh, by far, by far.
So tell me a bit of background. How did you get into holistics? Because I know you didn't come from holistics. I know you have a deep background. So how did you get into holistics?
How did I get into it? Right, that's a big story. It really started in 2011.
Okay.
No, actually, I'm lying. It started before. It started when I went to Hong Kong.
Okay.
Because when I first went to Hong Kong, that was my first proper experience of alternatives. Because here, everything here, you're sick, you go to the doctor, you get a tablet. Whereas when I went to Hong Kong, I was introduced to traditional Chinese medicine. Didn't know what I was taking. Didn't know what it was, but it worked. Right, so things like sinuses and headaches and back pain, I was going to these Chinese guys.
So it really broadened your mind on medication.
And it just opened me up to these things. So then when I came back, I started getting into essential oils. And that was the beginning of the journey. And I realised that there was way more to it than going to the doctor and getting pills for everything. That there was so much we could do ourselves.
I totally agree. Medicine does have its place.
Oh, definitely.
I believe short term for anxiety and things like that. But as I've said before, people get left and they get left on these medications without checks. And there is many other avenues to try, like holistics, like essential oils, like Reiki, like Psych-K, like hypnosis, all of those. Amazing treatments and without pill popping.
So that was the beginning of it. That was my introduction to it all when I was in Hong Kong. And then when I came home, I had a brother who was quadriplegic. And when I came home, I started to help mum and dad look after my brother. And two things happened. In 2008, my mum had a stroke. And then in 2011, she died.
Oh my goodness.
And shortly before she died, I opened a cupboard in the kitchen one day, and it was just like double shelf cupboard, all medication for my mum, dad and brother. And I thought to myself, there's something not right here. Can our design as human beings be so flawed that we need to have all this stuff just to keep us going? It didn't make sense to me, because mum was someone who had smoked and drank most of her life. Dad was someone who was good living, born again, Christian, who was a PE teacher and a marathon runner. And they were on the same medication. And I thought, there's something just a wee bit crazy here. So that started a whole different journey around wellness and nutrition and orthomolecular medicine and just all of these different things that we could do. But the very first thing I trained in was NLP. That was my very first thing.
Yes, I remember you saying that before. So I would actually like some of that myself.
Oh, NLP is amazing. I mean, I use it every day. So do.
Because I've been watching on TV and what you had explained to me, when you can actually tell who has been trained in it. So for our listeners and viewers, Mandy, tell us a wee bit about NLP.
Well, NLP, it's neuro-linguistic programming. And I suppose the basic principle of it is that we're like computers. That we have 5 different ways that input goes in, and once it goes in, the filter of the experiences that you've had in your life then play a factor in how you process that information. So if you take you and I, for example, say you and I walked outside and there was a dog, right? And my whole life, I'd had wonderful experiences with dogs. We'd had family pets. There were companions, right? They were friendly. I love dogs. Whereas when you were 5, you'd been bitten.
Yes.
Right? So we would walk out there into the same situation, see, hear, feel, touch, smell, all of the same things. Both of us would have the same experience. The filter of my life would create a nice feeling where I would want to go to the dog. The filter of your life would create fear. And you would back away from the dog. So same environment, all of the same things happening to us, but the filters that have come through your life experiences cause you to have very different.
It's very strange that we're having this conversation, because I had the same conversation similar with somebody on the phone this morning, and we were saying that, you know, life experiences as a child growing up, you don't, even if you live in the same household, you don't have the same experience.
Exactly.
Because you're two different humans with two different emotions and also two different age range and maybe sex range as well.
And then two, different people have different levels of resilience.
Yes.
So some people are very resilient.
Yes.
And they could be bitten by a dog, and they could go on to have a pet and they wouldn't have a fear of dogs. Someone else that doesn't have a high level of resilience, they're bitten by a dog and have a lifelong fear of dogs. They can't even walk past them. Yeah. So NLP, it's amazing. Part of the master prac in NLP is quantum linguistics.
Yes.
And that's all about speech and what you can do with speech. And things like, instead of saying should, you kind of take should out of your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Because the connotations around should is blame. I should have done it.
Yes.
So you're right away, you're blaming yourself.
You're creating shame.
Exactly. Whereas if you change that to could, I could have done it. Could is all these possibilities. Could opens everything up. Whereas should has the shame, the blame, and it shuts you down.
Yeah.
So quantum linguistics is really interesting. I think we might have done, there's a part of it called Cartesian coordinates. And it's if you're making a decision. Right?
Yes, we did.
As human beings,
we did this.
We
generally, relationship.
As human beings, what we tend to do is we think like computers, binary. Binary is zeros and ones.
Yeah.
So it's yes and no, and that's how we think.
Yeah.
So when we're making a decision, it's will I do it, won't I do it?
Yes.
There's a whole lot more beyond will I and won't I. So what I would say to people is when they're making a decision, think to yourself, what will happen if I do it? What will happen if I don't do it? What won't happen if I do it? And what won't happen if I don't do it?
Yeah.
So there's actually 4 quadrants to making decisions rather than 2. So once you open up those other 2 quadrants, what won't happen if I do it and what won't happen if I don't do it?
Yeah.
It has the effect of bursting the boundaries of the problem, and it just makes you see it differently and look at it differently.
Yeah. I had forgot that we had even, because I had went to you, because my anxiety had flared up again because of the breakdown in my relationship. And when I was looking back through our sessions and when I spoke to you, I had forgot that we had actually done that, and that was what we had done. It was what will happen to my life if this relationship breaks up, if I don't get married, and what will happen to my life if I do get married. And I had completely forgot.
What won't happen if I do, and what won't happen if I don't.
Yeah.
And it's those are the secret too. Do you hear this chair squeaking?
It is. I was wondering.
It's a chair squeaking. It is not me. I don't squeak.
I actually thought it was me kicking the table, to be fair.
It's me. It's because I use my arms so much when I'm talking.
I use my arms too, but my friend says when I'm using my arms, are you going to go off on one later? So when people are trained in NLP, what I'd realised and what you'd explained to me as well is you can see it in presenters.
Yes.
So explain that to us.
In presenters, how you can see it in presenters. Well, one of the things that they'll do is at the beginning, before they start talking, they'll normally get a spot that they'll focus on. So you'll see them looking at a spot, and they'll go into foveal vision. So foveal vision is when you focus on something, and then before they start to speak, they will go into peripheral vision.
Yes.
So they will try keep their eyes at front, but see things to the left of them and things to the right of them, and that's called the learning zone. When you go from foveal to peripheral. It's like opening your mind up. Okay,
Yes,
so you go into
I've been
a different zone.
The peripheral quite a lot recently.
Go into a different zone.
Yes.
And then when people are presenting and they're NLP trained, what they do is it's called anchoring on stage. So you'll where you're sitting, you'll say right here and now, and that's the center of the stage. And then you'll talk about your past, and you'll walk over to the left of the stage, and you'll say, when I was younger. So you're anchoring, younger is over there.
Okay.
And then you'll say, but where I'm going with my life, when everything evolves and I'm the successful person that I want to be, and that's over to the right. So they use the stage. So after a few minutes of this anchoring, they stop saying. They'll start and they'll just go, when I'm, and they'll walk over to the future. The whole audience knows when they go over to the right, they're in the future.
Right.
And when they come back to here, they're talking about now. And when they go over to the left, they're in the past. So they don't have to use the temporal tags of past, present, future.
Yes.
They're anchoring it on stage. And if you watch people, you'll see them doing it. If you start watching presenters, you'll start seeing that they do that.
Yeah.
And it's a really good tool. You can do it sitting down. I've just done it, like the past, the present, the future. You don't have to walk.
Yeah.
So you don't.
So that's another one you do. So tell us what else you do, Mandy. I've had other trainings with you, but I'll...
Havening. We've never done Havening.
Yes, we have.
Did we do Havening?
We have.
Oh yes, we did do Havening.
Yes.
We did do Havening.
Yes, and after we had, you'd actually taught me to do Havening yourself.
I teach everybody.
I
love
find
Havening
quite, soothing.
It's really
very
good.
Soothing. Yes.
See, at times in my career, I have had clients that have come for hypnotherapy.
Yes.
And I haven't been able to do hypnosis because they've been too highly strung or too worked up.
Yes.
And in that, I go right away to Havening.
Yes.
Because Havening, it's very soothing. Havening is like a touch. This is Havening touch. It's from shoulders to elbows. And then it's your hands. And then it's your face.
Yes.
And when you think about it, Havening is one of the most scientific of all of the therapies. See, the science and neuroscience behind Havening is incredible, absolutely incredible. But when you think of it, if someone's upset, it's your instinct to reach out and touch their arm.
Touch their arm.
Okay.
Put your arm on their
shoulder.
And
when you do that, that releases oxytocin. And oxytocin is the love hormone. It's the bonding hormone. So when you're doing this on yourself, oxytocin is one of the chemicals that you're releasing. And the mind is a funny old thing. And it can't hold multiple emotions at one time. Yeah. So whatever emotion you're holding, this is the basics of Havening. It's very complicated, but this is the basics. Whatever emotion you're holding, if you're Havening and you're flooding yourself with the love chemical, that emotion will shift. It will go away. Yeah. So
it's amazing. Funny, after we had did it, I know someone who fosters, and they have been in training for fostering children.
It's amazing with children. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and I have used it on myself as well.
It's so soothing.
It is.
So it is. I mean, do you see, after I went through a period where I had a lot of grief in my life after losing my father and my brother quite close together, and it was around Christmas time, so there was a lot to deal with.
Yes.
And when everybody went to bed at night, I would have been sitting watching TV, and I would have had this surge of grief would have come.
Yeah.
And I would have just cried and cried and cried. And it shows you can have all these tools, but you forget to use them. It wasn't until I told a friend, and she said to me, Kathy said, why are you not Havening? And I thought,
why am I not doing this?
It's like,
why am I not doing my own work?
Do you know what I mean? Mic drop. Why am I not Havening?
It takes somebody look from the outside.
From the outside to say. So then the next time that happened, and I had that overwhelming grief, I started to Haven and see what would have been like a crying session that would have lasted 4 or 5 hours.
Yes.
See, after about 10 minutes, I was absolutely fine. And the good thing about Havening is, see, when you have an emotion, you say what the emotion is. You don't Haven yourself and go, oh, I am calm, I am calm. You Haven yourself and you say, I am grieving, I am in pain, I hurt, and you're saying what the actual emotions are.
Yeah.
And you express them and you process them on high speed.
Yeah.
And you get through it and you get out the other end. And you're good to go.
I should have done that the last time I had a purge, because I was on a roller coaster of anger and sadness. And then there was times when I was feeling really sad. I was like, I need to cry, but couldn't cry. Yeah.
It's good because Havening just allows the emotions out.
Yeah.
It's like giving permission. It's nearly like calling them. See, when you're saying, I am sad, I am grieving, you're acknowledging it. And you're saying, right, it's okay, come on, wash over me. Do your thing. let yourself go.
Yeah, it's hard. Well, it was hard for me to let my emotions go because obviously I suppressed them and then used medication to suppress them as well. So obviously changing my whole life and going on a different journey. And
And what a journey you've been on too. What a journey.
I know. Can you believe this is me sitting here compared to when was the first time I went to see you? It was around Christmas time. It was in the run up to Christmas. I had went to see you and I was a shell of myself and doing really well with work and very, very successful. But every time that happened, I was like, I just wanted to go into a corner and hide because of anxiety, because of how I was feeling and having all these emotions, but not knowing how to express them.
And look what you've done.
I know.
Look where you are. You're great. Like, you're amazing.
I'm still on a journey. We're a work in progress.
We all are.
We all are a work in progress.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
So you've been on quite a journey, Mandy. So you have, but I also know that you, as a young child, grew up during the Troubles. So that must have been quite an experience growing up and quite a scary experience, I would imagine, as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was born in Annandale Flats, but I lived in Shankill. And when I say born in Annandale Flats, I mean actually born at home in Annandale Flats. I don't mean that's where I lived. I mean, I was born at home. Yeah. And we lived in Shankill. Yeah. And when everything kicked off, like 68, 69, I was 4 or 5. And we had tear gas come into my bedroom window. Oh, and I was a little child out of bed and there was a tear gas canister in the room. So that was, don't remember it, but this is like the family story and there was hospital and all the rest of it. Oh, so, wow. But I grew up in that. So, I mean, I'm very aware of it. Yes. And all of that, it affects different people, different ways. Yes. It created resilience in me. Yes. And it created understanding and it created empathy. And it meant that I can appreciate a lot more than if I had lived outside of that environment. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm literally a child of the 60s and not the hippie way. Well, I'm in the hippie way as well, actually. I'm in the hippie way as well. You've
kind of gone that way now. But yeah, as it must have been quite scary growing up. But then I would imagine, especially when you say you don't remember it, but you know yourself below the age of 6, really, you hold on to
that's
those.
When
the subconscious holds on to all them fears or the traumas that you experience as a young child.
I would say that was probably where a lot of the anxiety that I would have had as an adult would have come from. It would have come from those events that I don't recall. Do you know what I mean? Events that I have a very vague recollection of my dad getting hit in the head with a brick at one point because he was a great peacemaker. Goodness. There was rioting happening on the Shankill and he was standing on top of something and trying to tell everybody to calm down and stop fighting, and somebody just threw a brick at him. Oh my goodness. So there's various wee things like that.
Yeah, that must have been, as a whole family as such, that must have been quite an awful experience.
But you see, that's the thing. See, at the time, this is what I think quite often people don't realise. Do you see when you grew up in that environment? Yes. That was normal. Yes. Right? It's like bomb scars in Belfast. I remember really clearly. I was about 19 and I was going into Boots. I was going out that night and I wanted this electric blue mascara because I had an electric blue dress and I wanted this electric blue mascara, and it was coming close to time for Boots to close and there was a bomb scar. Yeah. And people were knocking me down, running out of Boots. Yeah. And I was pushing my way in and making my way over to the counter to get this mascara because in my world, this is just a bomb scar. The likelihood is nothing will happen here. But if it does, I'm going with my mascara. Do you know what I mean? It was that kind of, you just didn't take it. It wasn't that you didn't take it serious.
It's because of what you were used to.
Yes, it was just normal. It was normal. Yeah. There was days coming home from school, it took 3 hours because buses got redirected and you couldn't get to where you were going. Yeah. So, and that was just how it was. You didn't know any different.
Funny, just you said, I had a wee light bulb remembering my mum. I think it was around the time of a bomb scare. My mum went missing. She was in Belfast shopping. And just you saying about the blue mascara, when my mum got home, we were like, where were you? You know, where on earth were you? Well, I was in M&A, it was Marks and Spencer's back then. I was in Marks and Spencer's and I wanted to buy this thing and they wouldn't let me buy it. So I stood there for hours and they were like, there's a bomb going on, there's a bomb scare. Yeah, but that's the reality.
What it was like, because
I don't really remember that, because I think I was probably around the age of 12, 13.
Yeah. The thing was, life still had to be lived, regardless of what was going on.
Yeah.
You still had to live your life. You still had to go to school. Then when you got a job, you still had to go to work.
Yeah.
So you still had to live your life. And all that was just like background. It was just stuff that was going on.
Background noise, yeah.
But now, in saying that, and it's something that I didn't mention to you, I actually had a friend who was killed. It wasn't background when that happened. It became very much foreground. Do you know what I mean? But that again was Northern Ireland, and it touched many, many people.
Oh, Mandy,
and
you have suffered quite a lot of grief, and I'm sure...
you see that? See, now, this is where I'm bringing my NLP in, right?
Right.
See, that suffered grief. Their experiences. I've had many experiences.
Yes.
Rich experiences, and experiences that have taught me lots of things.
Yes.
But I have had a very blessed life. I have been so lucky, regardless of all of the things that have happened.
Yes.
So it's how you look at it. See, if you look back and you say, oh, you suffered.
Yes.
No. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's how you look at it.
Yes.
Because
you have to reframe it.
Yes, exactly. Your life is what you make it.
Yes.
And if you, I know people, I have clients that they'll come in and they will say something like, oh my goodness, that bus nearly hit me. I was nearly in a car crash there. And I'll go, but you weren't. And they'll go, oh no, but this bus, and they're panicking. Yes. And I'm going, no, but you weren't. Nothing happened. The car didn't get damaged. Something looked as if it might have happened, but the reality is nothing happened. So let's focus on the fact that nothing happened. Rather than what could have happened. Yeah. Because many things could happen, but they didn't.
Your outlook in life is just amazing, and that's why I wanted you to come on as well. There's not many people that could actually reframe grief or reframe things in their life. And I have said it too. A lot of people say, how can you go on and talk about those kind of things? Because I've healed from them, and they've made me the person that I am today. As I spoke before, I feel that being raped, I feel that being raped took me to being a personal trainer, wanting to help women and stop punishing my body. And that's where it took me to that. And then obviously the anxiety has brought me to greater truth of a woman and helping other women. I have reframed my life because of certain traumas that have happened, but I don't believe I would be the woman I am sitting here today, and I'm very proud of myself for that.
And that's right, because they're experiences that lead us to where we are.
Yes.
And I am a great believer in the fact that we get what we can handle. Yes. We get what we can cope with. We get what we can tolerate. Yes. And sadly, sometimes people get more than they can cope with. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that. I know there's a huge epidemic of suicide in Northern Ireland, so I'm not belittling that. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, for me as a person, I've had what I could cope with, and I've grown and learned from every experience that I've gone through. Yeah. And I mean, we would have in my family, we would have a real dark humour. Yeah. So we would, because
it's a northern. I think it's a.
It is a Northern Irish thing. Most definitely, it is.
We do have a dark sense of humour.
Because even in the order that my family died, it was the perfect order. If there can be a perfect order, because my mum went first. Yes. Right, because mum couldn't have coped if my dad or my brother had have died, and then my father died, and my father couldn't cope with my brother dying. Yes. Do you know what I mean? And then eventually my brother died. And so everything happens in the exact right order. Yeah. Do you mean?
And what can you can hold as a person, really, and what you can learn from.
Exactly.
Yeah. As I said, and I know you believe it too, that we make our choices before we get here.
Oh yes.
And you go. Sometimes I go, fuck, did I make that choice? Exactly. Did I actually make that fucking choice?
Why did I sign up for that?
Yes. Or how did I sign up for that? How can I rub my name out of that shit?
Or you think to yourself, right, I hope I'm going to ace this experience so that I don't have to come back and do it again.
Yes. So you work with the superconscious, and you say your superconscious holds all that, Mandy, don't you? Yeah. So tell us a wee bit more about that. Explain that.
I suppose
I
one
find
way,
it super interesting. I'm sure many people and viewers will as well.
one way that I would explain the superconscious, there's multiple ways to explain it, but the way that I take on board as being my truth for the superconscious is that, right, this is a meat suit. Okay, I live in a meat suit. Me, the soul, the essence of the person, lives in a meat suit. And the soul that spans all of existence, right, is magnificent and magical and immense. And it doesn't fit in this meat suit. Only part of it fits in this meat suit. Yeah. The bigger part of it is collective, it's source, it's God, it's whatever you want to call it. But the bigger part of it is outside of this meat suit, and it is not involved in my conscious awareness and thinking. But it is wisdom that I have the right, as me, the soul, that I have the right to call on. And when I'm working with the super conscious, I believe that that's me tuning in to my higher self. It's me tuning into all aspects of my soul. It's me that's saying, right, this version of my soul, this Mandy that's in this meat suit at this time, wants some guidance, wants some help. I want to know how I get from here to here. So can you help me? Because you know it all.
Can you show me the light?
Can you show me what direction
Can you give
to
me
go?
a sign? Yes. Yeah, and that works a lot within the Psych K as well.
Oh yes, that's the like the essence of Psych K, is that we are. Psych K is very spiritual. Yes. There's an energy, there's an attunement that we get in Psych K. Yes. Right. So I'm a Reiki Master and an angelic Reiki Master trainer. Yes. And I have been attuned to angelic realms and angelic energies. Yes. Equally, when I trained in Psych K, I was given an attunement. I was gifted with an energy that allows me to do Psych K. Yeah. And so there's a massive spiritual side. Now, I'm going to be perfectly 100% honest. Do you see when I did Psych K, when I went for my first training, right? I had no idea that there was any energy involved in it, that there was any energy work involved in it. So I went and I had my basic training, and I'm thinking, muscle testing, it's all very, because everything for me has to be logical, right? Yes. I'm thinking, it's
the
all
science behind it.
And I have to understand that. So basic training, and then we do advanced training. And then as part of the advanced training, the teacher announces that she's going to give us I can't tell you the energy because it's a secret. She's going to give us this energy, and we've all to hold hands. And I'm standing there thinking, what crazy bleep is this? I nearly said the S word, but I stopped myself. I remembered that I'm not just sitting talking to you and this is a podcast.
You're okay. Be yourself.
What crazy bleep is going on here? And we're all holding hands. And then she says, right, I'm just going to put the energy into the group. And I'm thinking, oh dear, I've made such a wrong decision. This is woo-woo. How did I get myself into this? So I started thinking all this, right? And then as I'm holding hands, I felt this surge. It was like somebody walking over your grave, only magnified. Yeah. I felt it literally come up my arm, go right across my body and go out my other arm. And so from the person who at the beginning was like the doubting Thomas, and it was obvious to the group because I was saying these things out loud. I was going, what kind of crazy
because you are this? Very literal.
And I was literally saying this out loud. See, when it had gone round the group and we're allowed to let our hands go, I then turned into the babbling idiot. I'm standing going, did you feel that? Did you feel that? Seriously, did everybody feel that? And the trainer's looking at me and she's going, Mandy. And I'm going, oh my God. I was just blown away. I couldn't believe that I'd had this experience. And that I'd felt this energy and that I'd been given this energy. So then the next thing is, right, how do we use it? What do we do with it? Do you know what I mean? So I then went from this like doubting Thomas to this person who was like, show me, tell me more.
So it wasn't even spirituality took you into Psych K?
No, because I didn't know. I literally didn't know that there was that spiritual side to it. Yeah. It looked to me like this real cool process. Yeah. And it was different and it was all to do with beliefs. And I knew from NLP how amazing beliefs were. And I had followed Bruce Lipton for years, and he talked about Psych K all the time. Yeah. And talked about how
when I Googled it and read up on it, that's who came up.
Yeah, Bruce Lipton. Because he would say that, yes, hypnotherapy is amazing, but you can make a change in 20 minutes that would take 5 sessions of hypnosis with Psych K. Yeah. So right away, that was me. Because to me, logic. Do you know what I mean? It makes sense. Why would I take 5 sessions to do something with a client when I could do it in one? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that was me on board. Yeah. And then once I'd had that experience, couldn't get enough of it. I had to do all the training. Like all the training. just after another.
Before, I know you're a Reiki master, and I have done angelic Reiki. So I take it you did the Psych K before you did
that.
Yeah. And is that because you weren't open to the spirituality? Yeah.
Yep, literally. And I'm ashamed to say I had an experience maybe 8 years ago where I met this lady. She was this absolutely lovely lady. And I was having this wonderful conversation with her that was actually went to buy something from her. And this conversation was going on for hours and hours and hours. And then she just kind of snuck into the conversation that she worked with angels.
Okay.
And I literally went, do you know what I mean? Just drew everything back, ended the conversation. My daughter was standing there going, Mommy, you're so rude. I got into the car and I says, she's one of them crackpots that works with the angels. Do you know what I mean? Little did I know that years later, I would not only have trained as an angelic Reiki Master teacher, but that I would be having experiences with the angels as well.
She was trying to tell you something.
Yeah. And I literally, so I was that person that thought that was woo-woo, and now realises it's not.
I have never always thought it's woo-woo, but I had always sort of thought, you're going mad. You're going mad, woman. And I've told you about some of the experiences I've had, or when I have been under, I have had experiences with angels.
Yep.
And I had lots with you and with Julie Tully as well. During a rapé session I had, when I was being grounded, I had a lot to do with that as well. And even during meditation myself. And sometimes I'm going, are you actually going mad? Are you going mad, woman? Is this just the midlife crisis? But no, I believe in it. I do.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the thing is, see once you start having a relationship with the angels.
Yes.
You look at everyone else differently. And
you do.
I say to everyone, like, please talk to your angels. You've a guardian angel. It's literally with you all of the time. All it wants to do is help you through this life. Just ask it. Just get up in the morning and ask it for help, because it's there. Notice I say it because they're kind of masculine, feminine.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
We could be very politically correct and call them a they. Do you know what I mean? But they don't have, you can't for definite say that your guardian angel's male or female. Some people are lucky. They're blessed that can see them.
Yes.
I've never had that experience. I feel them.
I can feel them.
Yeah, but I've never actually
and I know
seen.
That I had quite an experience, my male one, and I was able to connect them with my male one.
Oh,
and before I'd even come round, when I come, your male side is your right side, and I had actually forgot that until after the session, and I was like, did that just actually happen? Yeah.
It's incredible.
So it is. The most amazing, phenomenal experience.
It is, and it's a journey that once you open yourself up to it, once you open yourself up to the angels, it's absolutely incredible. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing phases me now, because I literally walk with angels. Nothing phases me. Like, see, the other night, Friday night, now I live in the middle of nowhere, literally the middle of nowhere. Friday night, 1:30, I wake up and the doorbell's ringing. And I thought, right, you dreamt that. There's nobody at your door at 1:30. So you dreamt that, and I lay there. And I thought, nah, dogs are all barking. And then I heard the doorbell again. So by the time I got to the kitchen, my heart was bouncing out of my chest. I could feel it pounding. And I was going to go into the living room to look out and see if I could see anything outside. We've no cameras or anything outside. And I had this fear, this huge fear. And all of a sudden, it was like a light bulb moment. I thought, what are you frightened of?
Yeah.
What are you frightened of?
You've no
Just
need to
call in the angels. And I literally, there and then, said, guardian angel, can you come? Can you be with me? Can you protect me? Archangel Michael, can you stand outside of my house and protect the house?
Yeah.
And then I walked into the living room and everything was fine. Whoever it was had gone. But it's having that in moments when you need it, where you can just reach out.
Yeah.
And they're so powerful, so incredible. Their sole role in this universe is to be with us and to protect us and to help guide us through.
Yeah. How I actually knew I had changed is, like yourself, I've experienced grief quite a bit, and quite at a young age. And I've seen people after they've passed, and I've always been frightened of them. Always been frightened. And my uncle passed quite recently, and I actually took it upon myself to go by myself and visit him by myself because I'm not frightened anymore.
Yeah.
And that for me was just like, my whole family were in complete, they were like, what has happened to her?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah, because that is just something that Lisa without anxiety would never have done anything like that. I would have needed to be taken, or would probably have stood at the door. But I went and felt love and felt protected, and felt obviously the sadness that comes with it, but you know, I felt amazing afterwards. Yeah,
it does. It changes everything, because it even changes your own view of death.
It does. It has completely changed my view of death. I used to be frightened, having anxiety. I was always frightened of dying. Always frightened of dying.
Because once you realise that we're here in this meat suit for a journey, and that this is the artificial thing.
Yeah.
What's happening now is the artificial thing. The reality is where we've come from and where we're going back to.
Yeah.
And everyone that is past, everyone that we've lost, they're there.
Yeah.
Right? Those souls are whole again.
Yeah.
In source where they're supposed to be. We're the fractured soul at the minute. We're fractured because part of us is here and part of us is there.
And we're still learning.
To get exactly. Back up there. We're this is school. This is kindergarten for us.
Yeah.
So it is literally.
So you didn't believe any of this then, Mandy, before? No. Nothing.
I've always believed in reincarnation.
Yeah.
Very strongly, because it had so many kind of deja vu moments.
Yes.
As a child and as I was growing up and everything.
Deja vu moments.
So many things had happened. So I'd always believed, because even as a child, I had imaginary friends and I had an imaginary cat and everything. And quite often, a lot of spiritual people do have those experiences when they're young. So I mean, it had all that, and it had loads of like weird experiences. And it was always a bit weird. It was always a bit different. Do you know what I mean? I was always slightly off the wall, but never realised that it was actually spirituality.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that was my journey.
That was your journey.
Because I was so corporate. Do you know what I mean? So corporate, it was untrue. Because my career, I had 20 years in the one company.
Yeah.
And I was literally, shoulder pads, 80s, suits, corporate, hard-assed.
And you don't seem like you come from corporate, because obviously it is a dog-eat-dog world. And I know, from speaking to you, you have said you were the...
Oh, I was.
You were the big...
Yeah.
You were the big woman,
I was
the big
boss, do you know what I mean? And embodied every aspect of it. And then to change to what I am now. And the thing is funny, I was saying earlier actually to Josh, I have this ring, it's an aura ring.
Yes.
Right? And it monitors like your stress levels and your heart rate and your temperature and your sleep and everything. See, when I'm working with partners, not clients, partners, when I'm working with partners, when I'm doing what I do, I'm down and relaxed and restore. In the stress.
Yeah.
Right? I don't get stressed. Whereas if I'm doing a different kind of work, even if I'm working on the computer, I'll go up to engaged. So it's stressed, engaged, relax and restore. But when I'm working, I'm down and relax and restore.
So is this one
all
of these
the time.
things that links into your phone? Right.
Oh, it's crazy good. It's crazy good. Way better.
I've seen them, but I've never actually seen one.
It's like the wearables, the watches and everything. It's way more accurate.
Okay.
So it is way more accurate.
Amazing.
So it is.
What's it saying now?
It's on the phone. Way over there.
So, Mandy, you are rebranding your business at the moment.
Yes.
So you were Mind Menders, but are you changing from Mind Menders to Be Limitless, is it?
Yes, because I've evolved.
Yes.
Right. When I created Mind Menders, that was when I was first NLP. So I was an NLP master coach.
Yeah.
And I was training in hypnosis. And to me, that's what I was going to do. I was going to mend minds. And I didn't see any issue with people thinking of the mind as having a problem.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I was very passionate about was that people needed to realise that mental health was no different from breaking an arm or breaking a leg. You needed to treat it. You needed to work on it. So that's where I was at the beginning. It was the old thing for the people that I would call my peers. Oh, we want to help people, right?
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to help people. So I'm not dissing that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. That's where I was when I started.
That was your transition period.
Whereas now I realise that it's quite different. I have a completely different outlook on it now because I've evolved and I've learned and I've become a different person.
Yeah.
And that means that I am different with people that I work with.
Yeah.
And I believe now very passionately that everything has to begin with empowerment.
Yeah.
And if you have a company name like Mind Menders, right away, I'm saying, you're broken, I'm going to fix you.
Yes.
Right? I'm saying I am, because that's what I called myself,
Yeah.
a mind mender. Right? So right away, I'm putting myself higher than you, and I'm saying, I'm going to fix you.
Yeah.
That is not the way I work. That is not what I do.
No, I know it's not the way you work.
So it's not. So my new company, or my new brand, is Be Limitless. Mm-hmm. And the whole ethos behind it is that I will take every single client or partner, whatever way they want to be referred to, I will take them all on the same journey.
Yeah.
And it's a journey that begins with empowerment. Because unless you feel empowered, everything will be temporary.
Yeah.
If you have someone who's constantly, if people are in this, I'm trying not to put any other therapies or therapists down. That's not how I want this to come across.
In the box.
Because I'm not about that at all. Some people get a lot of benefit from going on sessions every week.
Yes.
And that's how they live, and that's fine.
Yes.
That's not how I choose to be as a therapist.
Yes.
And it's not how I want people to be with me.
Yes.
I want people to come and to feel empowerment. And through that empowerment, so let them give the power back to them.
Yes.
Right? Because I'd said to you earlier, I believe that we live in a society that's disempowering by design.
Yes.
Our society wants to disempower us.
Yes.
Right?
I agree.
It wants us to believe. All you have to do, I very rarely watch TV.
I'm the same.
I will switch it on every now and again just for the crack. And every time you switch it on, it's telling you what hay fever medication you need or what you need to help you poop. Do you know what I mean? So it's basically telling you that as a human being, you can't exist unless you're medicated in some way, shape or form.
Yes.
Even if it's just from the grass, the trees, the pollen.
Yes.
Right. And by the way, the best thing for grass, trees and pollen is local honey. So if you take local honey, that will help you. You don't need to take hay fever tablets. So this society that we're in, disempowerment by design, it makes us weak. We're not weak. No. We are hugely powerful, magical beings.
Yeah.
That can control our lives.
Fear, for money.
Exactly. It's to weaken us.
Yes.
It's because we're so powerful.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They can't control us. See, when we know we're powerful, we can't be controlled. So they have to weaken us.
Yeah.
They have to disempower us by design. So to counter that, I want to empower people. I want people to realise that their power is that I'm not giving their power back to them because I didn't take it. I'm just helping them to realise that they can take back their power and that they can be empowered and that they have the power to heal everything that's going on within them.
Yeah.
And they have the power to have the life that they want to have. So whether it's someone that's struggling with health issues or someone that has anxiety or someone who's making a career change, they need empowerment. They need to believe in themselves first and foremost.
I couldn't agree more.
So that the beginning of it is empowerment. The next stage is elevate. So once a person is empowered, they can begin to elevate themselves. They can begin to lift themselves up to where it is they want to be. And then once you have achieved empowerment, you've elevated yourself, then you evolve into what you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's the journey I take every single client on. Empower, elevate, evolve.
Yes.
And it's all about being limitless because that's what we are.
I believe you're limitless, and I believe that I am now limitless. Mm-hmm. You know, I am looking at other avenues as well.
Yeah.
And definitely be limitless and be limitless in your thoughts and your limiting abilities and how you see yourself as well.
Because everything about our society is to keep us small.
I agree.
To give us limitations right from we go to school.
Yeah.
And it's all about, I'll find the details out and send it through so you can put it on one of the comments on the podcast. But there was surveys done years ago, I think it was 50s, 60s, where they took like 100 school kids and they tested them for genius. And it was something like 96% of them were showing genius. Say after a couple of years in school, it was down to 4%. So they literally dumbed them down by putting them in school. And what we're living with.
Yeah.
And so that's
There's a lot of things that we are not taught in school that you should be taught in school. I totally agree.
And there's a lot of people that's even the whole realm of neurodiversity.
Yeah.
Neurodiversity is looked at as people not being normal. Nah, neurodiversity, a lot of it is evolution. We're evolving. We're thinking differently. I multitask like a genius. I have ADD. I didn't even know I had ADD until I left my corporate job. And it was because I did so many things at once. I had so many things going at once. And that was my happy place. That was my comfortable zone. Yes. And then when I left that, all of a sudden, I realised, I have this executive function disorder. It's because I'm only doing one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of now, there's very severe neurodiversities that are very difficult for people to deal with. That's different. But my neurodiversity is a superpower. I can multitask. Do you know what I mean? So, and there's a lot of things.
And you can have hyper-focus, a lot of hyper-focus as well.
Excuse me. There's a lot of these things and they're actually beneficial to us, but we're not looking on them as in being beneficial.
Exactly. We're not reframing them.
Look at some of the autistic children that are amazing musicians and amazing artists. That's just because their brain works differently.
Exactly.
Different isn't wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Different isn't bad.
No, it's definitely not.
And I think it's about accepting that. And how did we get onto that? I have no idea how we got onto that.
I told you we'd go on tangents.
We didn't do too bad now.
I don't even know how we got there. I
know, it started off with empowerment and elevating and evolving, and then suddenly we were on neurodiversity.
So have you been diagnosed with, is it ADHD you have, or?
ADD.
ADD. And have you been diagnosed in the last?
I was diagnosed when I was in my early 50s.
Okay.
So it was about 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't really take much to labels.
Yeah.
It's like, you know that yourself.
Yes.
Because when people come to work with me, when people say my anxiety,
yes,
the very first thing I say is,
don't say that.
The anxiety. I would say, if you want to call your handbag my handbag, that's fine, because you went out and bought it, you chose it, you purchased it. That anxiety is something that is with you. Yeah. It's not yours.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's changing the language, and that would be the thing with labels.
Yeah.
I mean, I say ADD because it's so, it's nearly hip now.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It's
nearly
hip. It
is.
Especially on TikTok.
Exactly. If you don't have ADD, you're boring. You're just one of those like normal people.
Oh, Mandy. So do you find that it has benefited you in ways then, like when you're hyper-focused, especially rebranding yourself?
During my IT career, absolute, it was my superpower.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was my superpower. I thought everyone could do that. And I used to get frustrated with people that couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I thought everyone thought like I thought. And that if people weren't able to do all those things, I thought, they're just not applying themselves. I didn't realise.
They're lazy.
Exactly. And it wasn't until afterwards, doing what I do now, see, when I'm working with clients, I'm in the zone, and the ADD is nowhere to be found. Because when I'm working,
I can never see it in the sessions, but I can always see it when we go later on.
Yeah. See, during the sessions, it's not, people talk about channeling. It's not channeling, because I don't channel.
Yeah.
Well, I do sometimes, but I'm just in the zone. Do you know what I mean? When I'm working with a client and I'm tuning in to, because when I'm working with your superconscious, right, my superconscious is working with your superconscious.
Yeah.
So there's an element of us, and when we're doing Psych K, in Psych K, there's a very special, very sacred thing called a sumatak. Yes. And a sumatak is it's the space where wisdom can be revealed. It's a sacred space where wisdom can be revealed. And as soon as we start doing Psych K, because I am trained, I create a sumatak. Okay. And that means that we have insights and wisdom that we wouldn't normally have. And the fact that my superconscious up there in source is working with your superconscious, it's like an out-of-body experience nearly. Do you know what I mean? Because I'll find that I have knowings when I'm doing Psych K that I don't normally have.
Yeah.
and these little weird experiences and everything.
So when you say knowings, do you mean like knowings about the client or your partner? Yeah. Or that feeling that you get that you just know something when you meet somebody? Because I get them a lot.
Because when we're working together, what will happen is I'll have an insight into your situation that you haven't told me about, and that there's no way I could know. And it's because your superconscious told my superconscious. Literally. It's the other parts of our soul went, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? It's such and such. And then that's why, because when I'm working with partners in Psych-K, I'll say to them, have you considered this or have you considered that? And all of a sudden they're, oh,
yeah. I remember you've done that to me a few times. I'm like, how on earth does she know
and
that?
And that's a sim attack. That's literally a sim attack. And it's not me. It's not me. It's Psych-K. I'm not special. It's Psych-K. It's the process.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's being part of the nature.
It is. It's the fact that it's long before we had language, we had telepathy. We could communicate before language. Language is relatively new, relating to the human race.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And when you think of it, that's only a cup because someone told you it was a cup.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Everything is just the thing that you've been told, the label that you've been told to give to it. Whereas prior to that, we communicated in quite different ways before we had language. And I believe that when you're doing something like Psych-K, you're using that type of communication when you're in a sim attack.
Yeah.
Because even a sim attack, it's an Inuit word, and it is this sacred space where wisdom can be revealed, but it's not revealed verbally. It's not you telling me.
It's telepathically.
Gifted, yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's a whole different way of communicating.
Amazing, Mandy. Honestly, it is. It's just amazing. You're so wisdomless. You really, really are. You really, really are. Well, how do we find your new website? Is it live yet?
Well, it's live but unfinished. It's live but unfinished. It's belimitless.uk.
Okay, because I do have clients that want to work with you, and I have spoken to other people that want to work with you, but I also know of a lot of people waiting on to watch this, because people like to watch, listen, and then make decisions.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But it's the thing, see Psych-K, see even the Psych-K that we've done.
Yes.
We've only ever done the basic Psych-K.
Yes. I know, because there is
huge.
Yeah. There's one I looked at on your website a while ago, and I had asked Nikki, had she done it? And she says, I've done that many, Lisa. I don't even think I can remember.
She's done all of them apart from the optimum health and well-being. Yeah. That's the only one she hasn't done.
The one, I think it was quite a bulk one. Was it the Limitless? Was it some sort of package or some sort of? I can't remember. I would have to go back on and have a look, but it was quite a massive.
There's one, and it's optimum health and well-being, and it's basically we test 23 sets of questions.
Yeah.
Right. So you're lying on a bed for it, and there's 23 sets of questions.
That's the one. That's it.
And then from that, you then go on from the answers to those questions. Now, some of them are things like, I want to live. So you'll test, so they're matched sets, and one will be, I want to live. So strong for that is positive, I want to live. And then the next one is I want to die.
Yeah.
So you can be strong for I want to live and also strong for I want to die.
Yeah.
And then that's out of balance. So you need to work on that.
Okay? Yeah.
And then there'll be things like believing in yourself. And there's things like, I believe the universe has my back and supports me in everything I do.
Yeah.
And then the opposite side of that will be, I believe that the universe is trying to drag me down and I'm a victim of the universe.
Yes.
Right? So you need to be balanced. You need to be strong for the first and weak for the second. So you work through those 23 sets, and then you go into core balances, so core belief balances. There's points on your body, like this is self-worth. And so there's different points on your body that mean different things. And I touch the points and muscle test you to see if there's a weakness in that area, and then we do work on that. But then the culmination, it's about 4.5 hours, that particular process. Yeah. And the culmination of that is literally an action plan.
Yeah.
But the health and well-being one is all about how you're interacting with the world with regards to your health and well-being.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's nutrition, it's
basically looking at everything.
It is. And then out of that comes an action plan. So anytime we do Psych-K, we always have actions, but we'll identify parts of the process that need to have an action plan.
Yeah.
So it's slightly more intense, and it's like 18-point action plan.
Oh my
goodness.
It's
a big one.
It's a big one. Yeah.
It would be akin to an NLP. There's a process we do called a breakthrough process, and it's like a whole day session where you work on getting rid of anger, grief. You work on getting rid of different emotions. You work on getting rid of limiting beliefs. You do all different things. So the health and well-being would be the equivalent of the breakthrough. And then there's a beautiful process that we can do in Psych-K, and it's an alternative life balance. So you take everything that you've experienced in this life, and you take your lessons from it, and you do. There's just certain type of breathing that you do. It's thymus and hatha breathing, or the hara point. Sorry, the thymus and the hara point. It's a certain kind of breathing that gets you very trancey. So you do that, and then you take in new information through the thymus, and you release old information through the hara. So you look at your life, the life you've had. You take your learnings from it, and then you think of the life you would like to have had. The ideal parents, the ideal school, the ideal friends, the ideal relationship. And you create... Oops, I knew I would hit that. I knew it.
You've done well.
To not do it the whole time. So, and then you create the life that you would like to have had. And when you're doing that, you're creating a blueprint, a chemical blueprint within your body for that life. And then it means it's easier to shift your energy to go
beliefs.
After that type of life, because you'll have the beliefs that will support that type of life.
Amazing. Mandy, I could just listen to you for hours and hours and hours.
You know I could talk for hours.
So if anybody wants to avail your services, your help, or even just reach out to Mandy, because Mandy is a wonderful person to get connected to. And she always makes you feel good when you speak to her or you connect with her in any way. Facebook is the best place to get you, isn't it?
Facebook is still Mind Menders. Still Mind Menders Wellness Hub on Facebook, because the rebrand is at the end of this month.
Wow.
So Facebook
so it'll be exciting for the end of this month. Actually, this one isn't live until the end of June. So you'll be rebranded by then. So it'll be Limitless.
BeLimitless.uk.
Wow.
And the booking link and everything will be there.
So go for it. It will, if you suffer from any of these, or you're interested in these kind of things that could change your career or your life, go for it, because it helped change mine. And I want to thank Mandy for coming on, and it was amazing. And
thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
It was amazing.
I've enjoyed it.
And thank all my listeners and viewers again, as always. And if you want to watch the pod, you can do so through shecantransformations.com. Thank you very much, Mandy.
Thank you.